I'm pleased to close the debate on behalf of the Scottish Labour. Scottish Labour recognises the benefit of immigration to our economy. Edinburgh sees people coming to study and work in our IT, finance and tourism sector. They can even become an MSP if they're lucky. Following the racist riots of last summer, it must be said in this debate that Scotland welcomes immigrants and asylum seekers and deplores all forms of racism and prejudice. Regardless of how someone came here, our immigration system must be fair and based on respect. Supporting businesses and individuals to hire from outside Scotland is necessary, but our responsibilities don't end with visas. New Scots face the same issues as so many are already. Richard Leonard raised the poor conditions of agricultural workers. I've heard cases of New Scots or asylum seekers stuck in temporary accommodation with no running water for months on end. Others faced with sharing a single room between three, tackling issues like the housing emergency, and ensuring our councils have the resources to support New Scots must be part of any immigration strategy. Today, we've heard the importance of using immigration to fill skills gaps in our economy. I would like to note that these exact issues were being discussed in Parliament in 2018. It seems to me an admission of failure on the SNP's part. Some professions have been on the shortage occupations list for more than a decade. Of course, part of that can be achieved through immigrations, but the power to fill these gaps exists today. This brings me to the proposed rural visa pilot. Members have outlined the many issues caused by rural depopulation and the inequalities between regions as a result. A specific immigration strategy could be a useful way to increase the number of people moving to the island and rural areas. It has been achieved before. My colleague Rhoda Grant mentioned that Scotland has previously had immigration schemes such as Fresh Talent during the Scottish Labour government. But the major issues which remains is that at present people do want to live in rural and island areas, but are forced to move or put off by a lack of economic opportunity, lack of housing and high cost of living, which the Scottish Government has allowed to take hold. This is recognised in Labour's economic plan for the Gaelic language. If the Scottish Government wants to attract and retain people in rural areas, tackling these issues has to take priority. A temporary increase in population is not a long-term solution to the depopulation crisis. To finish, I want to discuss Scotland's ageing population. Members have mentioned that Scotland's working age population is projected to decline over the next 20 years, and how this necessitates the needs for greater immigration. But we cannot solely rely on the rest of the world to provide us with a workforce. Scotland's fertility rate has fallen, and while attitude to have children has changed in recent years, we must consider outside factors which may be driving this. Childcare, the cost of living, a housing emergency leaving people with high rent later and later into their lives. Scottish Government research shows finance and childcare remains the largest barrier to people have childcare. I've got a lot to go through. Immigration cannot be used as a sticking plaster for a society where starting a family is out of reach for too many. To conclude, Presiding Officer, Scottish Labour believes immigration has a key role to play in Scotland's economic future. The immigration system should reflect the needs of the Scottish economy, but immigration cannot be used as a substitute for skills development or tackling the root causes of rural and island depopulation.